I'm actually not in the right tuning here to do this, but
You got to click on something. I think you have to okay this.
oh yeah, 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 that's right. Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it seems like every website I look at now has that cookie thing and says, you have to accept it. And
Yeah.
it's like, does it change every day? Haven't I been here since
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
happened? Oh, it just drives me crazy.
Oh.
Um, so in Dear Prudence, when so the actual how to finger the various
Right.
things. Okay, so I'm good with um, this sequence, but when I get to here,
Okay.
um, and this happens particularly when I'm down here.
Okay.
Um, Naturally, instead of that, I want to do that, and it just for whatever reason, if I'm not thinking about it, that's the way it comes out.
Okay.
That's the way it happens
Yeah.
on that. Not so much up here because I think sort of space limited. I suppose
Yeah.
it's more natural here to be this way.
Right. Right.
So that sort of question number one is what I don't know. Should I think about that as
Um,
should I worry about that?
yeah, I think so. Here's why I'd recommend against letting it go like that. Because it's really common with that. So that so what chord is that you're playing right there when you play those three notes?
This is out of the A family, isn't it? I knew the answer to this 2 days ago,
Uh-oh.
which which is that's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
So there's a D that I'm sorry, there's a D right there. There's a G right there, and that's a B. So
Okay.
it's a G.
Okay, right. Okay, good. And so what family do we play a G chord in this neighborhood from? If we were going to play a full G, if we wanted to play a six string version of this chord, what would it look like?
A six-string version of this chord in this neighborhood.
Yeah, so not the open G.
Yeah, not the open G. Um, well, we could play it like that.
Right. Okay, so see, this is not from the A family.
Yeah.
This is a little reduction. You see it now?
Yeah, now I see it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that three string shape that looks like a D minor seven, right? I mean, if you were playing D minor seven, it would be a two string bar and this note at the second fret. Does
Yeah.
that okay?
Yeah.
And but in any case, what this is a three string version of the E family. We're only playing the top three strings of the E family.
Okay.
And so any place you play that shape, that little two string bar and the next one at the third at one fret higher, it's from the E family. So the first time you played this in this song, where was it?
The first time is all the way up here at the 10th fret.
Okay, so what would that be then now?
Well, up here, um, we're playing an.
So forget about the notes. Just think about the shape. Like kind of relate this to what we just did back at the third fret.
Oh, okay. So back at the third fret. Oh, well, it's going to be D
Yeah.
7.
Just no.
No.
If you had the full bar here, if you played the full E,
Yeah.
the full E family here,
Yeah.
what would you be at?
Um,
Yeah.
well, I would be at F. Yeah.
No.
I would. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm at 10.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. I thought I was at 13. Yeah. 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 I got it. I got it. Okay. Okay. So that's the E. So this is a D.
Right. Okay. So that little three string version that you're playing, is the
yeah,
exact same thing. It's just a reduction of the E family, and at the
yeah.
10th fret, we have D.
D, right.
Okay, so the third chord in our introduction is just a D chord,
Just a D. Yeah.
and then what follows that? What's the fourth chord?
The fourth chord is the same. It's the same thing at the eighth.
Right. So that
Yeah,
makes it
that's a C.
right, right. And later on, well, and what's the next chord that we see? What's the next shape?
The next shape is a D right
Right.
here.
So it's a D family, but it's not a D chord, right?
Right. It's a D shape, um, but it's actually let's see here. Um, relate this to this right
Good.
here.
Yep.
Yeah, because that's where the D shape is. So this is a G.
Right. Okay. And we only well then we have two other chords. What happens next?
Um, G. So then we are down here.
I don't think so. Is that I think there's one more chord. I could be wrong. Um, doesn't it go to the E shape at the fifth?
Oh, it does. It does.
Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It goes to here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
Okay.
goes to here. So that's got to be an A.
Right. And then what's the last one? The one now coming up is
This one
back there, right?
right
Now,
here.
now what family is this?
Looks like it wants to be the A family.
Yeah. What's the hesitation or confusion there?
Well, if we were back at the nut,
Okay.
we would be playing these two.
Yeah.
We'd be playing these two right here.
Right. Plus the first string open. And so again, just similarly to what we talked about where our three string reduction of the E family looks like it has that little bar.
Yeah,
This is what the three string reduction of the A family looks like anywhere on the neck. Right? So if you move that up, so what does that make that chord then that we were just at? You were just at what fret again?
um, well, we're up. Let's see. That makes this a D.
Not quite.
No, it's the A family.
Right, but hey, so what would the full version of this look like? The if you were like the whole bar from the A family would look like what?
That's what I'm confused about here.
Yeah.
Um,
Right. And what other note would you need in there to complete it?
I agree.
Yeah. There you go.
Right.
Okay, and now where is the root of this chord?
The root of the chord is on this string right here at C.
Right. Where you got confused there was you're looking at two notes at the second fret and an open note
Yeah.
a minute ago. And then when you moved it up, you only moved up this part 3 frets. But I
Right.
think you processed into, well, that's where the bar might be, which is probably how you came up with D.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I see. Yeah.
Got
Okay.
it? Okay.
Okay. Yep. 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 Okay. I got that.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how far we went into this, but those three families that we just talked about, E, A, and D,
Yep.
are really, really useful for adding second guitar parts to songs.
Uh-huh.
And by so like if you and I are playing something together and you're strumming the chords to Tequila Sunrise or something,
Yep.
um, and I just want to noodle around and make it and add like a little sound to it. What I'm going to do is use those three families further up the neck, like pretty much between the 5th and 10th frets is the area that I would play in, while you're playing chords down between 0 and 5. You know, you're kind of so you're strumming this. It's another tequila sunrise to D, staring slowly across A minor sky, and maybe D7. Said goodbye. And so what I would be doing is kind of processing different ways. The first chord is G, and I'd be thinking about where are the three places I could play a G chord from those three families, like the E family. Well, the E family answer to that is right here. It'd be at the third fret. And it doesn't make any sense at all for me to play that when you're playing this because we have the same highest note. So if I'm just strumming along like this, I've added virtually nothing to what we did. Because again, like I said, I kind of want to be between, I want to be higher than you. I want to be between the 5th and 10th frets with the shapes. So then I figure out, I start thinking, well, where are the other places I could play G out of the other two families? And we just found one of them here as we were talking about Dear Prudence. We found that the D family at the 7th fret gave us G.
Yeah.
And where could I get a G out of the other family?
G out of the A family.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So a G up there out of the A family would be, let's see here. Well, it could be all the way up here
At what fret?
at 10.
Yeah. Not only not only could it be there, it has to be there. That's the only place it can happen.
Okay. Okay.
It's this
All
is
right.
so tentativeness was not helpful.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now reduce that to 3 strings. Just do the little 3-string shape. Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah. Okay. So now I'm playing. You're playing this G, and I'm either going to the 7th fret doing this. You can hear that they match, right? Or I'm at the 10th fret doing this. And to really beef up our sound, what I would probably not just strum. So you're kind of carrying the first guitar, let's say, is carrying the beef of the chords and the beef of the rhythm. So I don't really need to do this. That's kind of, it gets really monotonous. What would sound better for me to do is just highlights. While you keep strumming, I do something like and then I go to a D chord. So go to D now. And so then now I'm looking for places I can play a D chord. Well, one of them is this. This is my D family version of D. So I'm not doing that because you're doing that.
Right.
So then I'm thinking I'm either going to go to the 5th fret out of the A family and do this, or to the 10th fret out of the E family and do this. So now, if I were to just strum the chords, you'd hear this, G, right, to D. Do it again. You hear how that, beefs up the sound and makes it really nice.
Oh yeah.
So when I'm going over this stuff with students, we typically just refer to these as triads because all you're doing is playing all of these shapes, or out of the 3 families, have just one of each of the 3 notes. I mean, they've each got the 3 notes you need in the chord. And like you already found when you do the D family, the root is on the 2nd string. That's kind of like how you relate it. Right. In the other 2 families, you really relate it to the full bar. You relate it to the 6th string or the 5th string. To be your reference point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so once you you can take a progression like, I don't know why Tequila Sunrise always pops in my head as a good example of cool progressions to play, but the next step with like figuring out what else you can play, first of all, is to know what fret you have to go to with any particular family to be matching the chord that the song is playing, right?
Right.
The next, though, would be to bring in minor chords. Know what you have to do to each of those 3 shapes to make a minor. Well, in the case of all of them, one note is going to change. you know, and so it becomes helpful not even necessarily to know right off the top of your head which string it is that has the third on it, but if you think of this as being an E major shape,
Yeah.
what would I have to do to make this minor? What would the minor shape look like? I'm at the fifth fret. Yeah.
Yeah, you're at the fifth fret.
Right.
To make this into A minor, you'd have to go to here.
Right. So that is the minor shape out of the E family all the way up and down the neck.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And out now go into an A family chord,
Okay.
like right there at the fifth fret again. Play the A shape.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. And now what would you do with what? How does that one become minor? Think about your A chord down at your open A chord. Which
Yeah.
string changes?
Okay. Let's see. I think it has to go to here. Is that right?
So which string did you change?
I changed the B string.
Right. And how far did you change it?
Oh, I went too far.
Right.
It's here.
There's
Yeah.
that. So that's D minor. There's my D minor, and there's your D. And see again, that's the same thing. It's the three string reduction of this, the full A minor shape.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So, now we've just kind of, we haven't finished it. We haven't done the D shape. Go to a D shape at the seventh fret, since we know that that's our G chord, right?
Okay.
Okay. And now what do you do with this one to make it minor?
Okay. So this one, um, this one, I need to go to here.
Good. Way to go. Because that one, you could see there was that almost seemed like a trick question, right? It's like it's like, well, do I move it up and bring that note down? No. So this one, the note,
Yeah.
but when we even think of the seventh fret as being where G is here, that's a little misleading because in the D family, if I was going to make a bar out of a D shape, the bar is going to be back here,
Yep.
and that's where the root is on the fourth string,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
But we're not using the fourth string, so we look at this and we would say, hey, well, this chord's at the fifth fret.
Right.
Well, not to relate it to how E and A work, it's not really. It's at the third fret,
Right.
right? And so when we make it minor, we've kind of created this extra element of confusion. It's like, well, now what fret do I say I'm at now? It's
Yeah.
so. But pretty soon you just kind of get used to the shape that you know where the major one is, and you convert it to minor by doing that. But the easy mistake to make here is to do something like this. Now what I just did right there was kept this at the same fret, and so I made it a half step higher. This is not G minor. This would be G sharp minor, right?
Yes.
So anyway, that was good. You didn't fall in that trap sort of when you're doing that.
Yeah. Well, I got there. I guess I was thinking about it in because I'm looking at the E string down here, and I know that change is going to have to come from the B.
Say that again.
Well, the
Got the root. So the
yeah,
root is on the B string, is what you're. Yeah.
yeah. So it's going to have to come
Right. Yeah.
here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh,
All right.
I don't know if you've looked at this lesson at all, but boy, just hearing, we don't play G minor very often. There aren't many keys that include G minor. It would only be in keys that have flats. Now we see G sharp minor in the key of E all the time, like Sister Golden Hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you've heard this, but as soon as you played that G minor chord out of the D shape, now if I put a capo here and play and I'm thinking D minor now. It's really G minor.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Yep.
see if you recognize this. Can you tell what that is?
Sure. That's While My Guitar Gently Weeps.
And that's how he wrote it. You know,
Uh-huh.
he wrote it in the key of G minor, and we heard that we didn't know that until it came out on the Beatles anthology in 1994. You know, and because there's a demo version of him playing it just like that, and it's this slow, melancholy ballad. It's not
Yeah.
the driving rock and roll thing that they turned it into, you know.
Right.
But it's really neat because it's just got this delicate. I guess I'd heard this on bootlegs before too, before the anthology came out. But it's you know, eventually they changed it to A minor with the heavier stuff that
Yeah.
that let George sing higher. It's like so it kicked up the intensity in the song
Yeah.
huge amount, you know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
So what we were doing there was we were just doing a round of, right. We're going from,
yeah, yeah. And then yeah, now what he really does here is I'd have to go back and listen to it, but I know my lesson on While My Guitar Gently Weeps talks about this version, talks about this acoustic demo version. So you might want to check it out.
okay.
I think he played a full B flat there. I think he went to the full B
Oh,
flat out of the A family. Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And
Okay.
and see that's the equivalent of us playing it with A minor and then G in the bass and then F sharp in the bass and going to an F chord.
Yeah.
This is how it would work in the key or in the relative key of D minor. This is how the chord progression would work, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And and then the second time around, it's not just the bass notes that change, right? The second time it'd be D minor to a full C, and then to a full G, and then A. Right. So it's you know it's kind of a more fun way to play it when you're playing it by yourself than you know trying to rock it out with the A minor stuff.
And you were picking that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
Kind of with you know almost arpeggio, but almost but kind of with but a constant strumming, but not this, right? It's kind of more hitting zones. Usually catching that high string on the and of two, one, two, and. You know that's kind of what we hear George do in that. You know, it's a real common thing to do with this style of just
Right.
just make sure you keep your hand moving though constantly.
So
Yeah,
and then after that on the and of three,
that's kind of what
so
I hear too. Or that's what you heard me do. Yeah,
yeah,
so
that's what I heard you
I'm
do.
bringing out this note on the end of two and this one on the end of three. And even those notes, those ups there, don't have to be. If they're better if they're not just one string. Like right there, it's a little brush, but then the other brush is here, starting with the second string. So you don't hear the first string on the up on the
Okay.
end of three. Yeah, perfect.
Like that?
Yeah, yeah. And now we're ready for the next bass note for the chord change. Yeah,
Oh, and then all the way to here.
yeah.
Huh.
And now if and I almost feel like the next line you can thicken it up a little bit. So like really light picking in the first line. Then back to kind of you know build up so the second line dynamics gets a little louder and thicker.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Well, that's nice. That's a nice picking exercise too.
Yeah. And then, just like in the A minor version, it changes keys and goes into a whole bunch of chords in the. So we're thinking here in the key of D minor, right? And in the electric version, it starts in A minor and goes to what key after that? Do you know? Have you played through this progression before? Ah, okay. Then you shouldn't know the answer to this.
Okay.
um, but it. Sorry to get off on this tangent, but this I'm sure you'll have a lot of fun playing this song. So it's
Yeah.
so what happens in the A minor version? It's heavier on the bass. G, D, E. So it runs through that, and the next two lines are almost the same, a little bit different. But then, instead of this, the next section starts here. It changes the key of A major from A minor. So the first section's in A minor, and the second section's in A major, and you can hear that the difference. You come out of this. I'll finish the last line. And right here, it sounds like the sun comes out because even though it uses a bunch of minor chords in the key of A, starting with that A major chord is a serious shift. Well, it's a key change. It goes from a minor key to what's called the parallel major key, meaning the same note, not the relative major or minor, right? So when we talk about relative major or minor, we're talking about two different keys that have all the same chords in them, but which one is, so the relative minor key to A major would be F sharp minor, because that would be step 6 of that. So that's not a drastic modulation. If you change from a major key to its relative minor, you're still using all the same chords.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this is what's called a parallel change, because we're using the same tonic, the same note. A is still home,
Yeah.
but we've changed modes from minor to major, which means we've got a whole new set of chords.
Right.
The common the common denominator there is that both of them have, whether you're in a major key or a minor key, chord 5 is always played as a major chord. So in our A minor section, we land on E, not E minor, and that's what makes it that's what makes a minor key not the same as its relative major. If we were in the key of C,
Yep.
to be relative to A minor, right?
Yeah.
We wouldn't ever see an E chord. E would be a minor chord.
Right.
But in the key of A minor, and almost all the time in minor keys, chord 5 is altered to be a dominant chord by making it major, or even better, 7. And you can hear that E7 resolves, pulls me back to A minor like dynamite. Right? Well, the cool thing about this is that chord could take me to A major just as well, because it's also chord 5 in A. And so that's exactly what happens in While My Guitar Gently Weeps, is his last chord, whichever key he's in, is E. It ends on E so that he can start the next section either in minor again or in major without. But you hear that change. It's really obvious to your ear. It's like, man, something big happened here.
Right. So when we're up here and we just started through the acoustic progression of this
Right.
here, so we were here,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're in D minor. Are we in D minor, or are we in relative D minor? What?
Well, we're not really in D minor. Like, the piano player is not going to think in D minor.
Okay.
We are. So the capo, like, whenever we use a capo, we think in a relative key, and this term is different. We're using relative here as kind of a different term than relative major or minor.
Okay.
We're kind of using it. This is like a relative key. In other words, we're thinking in D minor, but the capo has put us in G minor.
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I mean. The piano player has to think in G minor,
Right.
but we don't. I mean, the capo has made it easy for us to play in. And if this was too high for us to sing, we would take it down 2 frets and we'd be in F minor. But you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to think. You're not even going to think about that. You're still going to think about. So your brain is relatively in the key of D minor.
D minor.
D minor. No, we'd think of this as D minor, but
Yeah.
it's not. It's not the O. And the opposite term for this would be the absolute key. So like the absolute key is what the piano player has to think in.
Okay.
So G minor is the absolute key here.
Okay.
But we're thinking we're in D minor because we know the chords in D minor better than we know the chords in G minor.
Right.
Anyway,
Okay. So our parallel here
Okay.
point is D.
Right. So we're going to D major for
Right.
for the other section.
Yeah.
And all the chords in the other section are out of the key of D major. So what other chords are we going to expect to see?
We're going to see D as the 1.
Right?
We're going to see D, then E minor,
Right?
then C sharp.
No, wait.
No, we're just no E minor. I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way.
Uh,
E E minor, then F sharp minor,
Good.
then G,
Mm-hmm.
then A,
Good.
then B minor.
Yeah. So the chords in this part start on chord 1. Just play that. And they go to 3 next.
Okay. Oh, F sharp minor.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, so we're gonna play F sharp minor, right there. Right?
Yeah. And then it goes to 6.
Then it goes to 6, which is B minor. So we're
Okay.
gonna put that right there.
Then back to 3.
Back to 3, then back to here.
And then to 2.
2, which was
Yeah. And it's 2 measures of this, so hit it again. And then to 5.
uh, no. Oh, A.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I can.
You hear that? So we have 1 D, F sharp minor, B minor, back to F sharp minor, to 2. 2 is what?
E minor.
And 5. And that 5 sets me up to either repeat that but I could just as easily go back to so I went back to the D minor section from that A.
Okay. And when you go back into the D minor section, that's where you're doing the sort of the arpeggio,
Much lighter picking, yeah.
and then rolling from that in the second time around. That's when it gets a little bit more.
Yeah, and yeah, a little bit heavier, a little more bigger strokes.
Okay, bigger sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And what I'd really do is encourage you to listen to that demo version of George's on the anthology. I'm sure you can find it at YouTube or something. If you just search for "While My Guitar Gently Weeps" demo, it'll I'm sure it'll come up. Matter of fact, let me do it. Let me see if that does work. Um, yeah, you definitely have to search for demo on it, and if you just search for George Harrison, a lot of live ones come up. Anyway, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I got that. All my guitar gently weeps demo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there are a couple little embellishments that I just heard him do there that I didn't talk about. But so see if you can figure out some of the stuff that you hear him do on the guitar. There's a couple of little unusual things.
Okay.
He did start off kind of the way we did with that. You hear
Ah,
those two high notes on the and of two and the and of three.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's the project for the week. That and work through. I'm going to continue to work through the Dear Prudence thing.
Is that the pickings feeling okay in that?
Yeah. I mean, I have to. I remind myself constantly to try to get myself in a better position here.
Yeah, not like this.
Yeah, I
You
find
got it.
myself, yeah,
Yeah,
I find
yeah.
myself drawn, you know, if I'm thinking about one thing, and then so when I remind myself of that, and and all, yeah, it's definitely coming along for sure. Yeah, 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 and between that and memorizing the progression, that's it's it's coming along. I'll
Okay.
get it.
All
I'll get
right.
it. I'll get it at some point.
Okay.
Speeding it up to the, that's
Ah,
that's another question. So like it reminds you mentioned Blackbird. Blackbird, um, I know the progression. I can play it, and when I think about making it get it clean, I can get it reasonably clean, and all. It's just shifting that gear up on the speed dial. Shifted it up on the speed dial.
you know what a good little exercise for that, almost like intervals, running intervals and stuff like that, is just working on an exercise, a very simple one, like just alternating a little pattern where you're just playing like just that. The very first finger picking pattern I might have people try is just hitting a thumb and a finger and another thumb and a finger, just this, and push the speed. I'm just doing it on a C chord there. Do that a little bit.
Yeah.
And then try to do that a little faster. So very small motions with your hand. Try to make it maybe a little softer so your fingers don't displace so much space when they come off. So if I'm gonna play really fast, if it looks like this, that's about as fast as I can go with as hard as I was hitting those because I was yanking on those strings really hard. But if I cut the volume down and try to barely move my fingers, but you can see how little I'm moving there, right? It's just so it's kind of like you do have to practice playing fast to get to be able to play fast, and not worry about just physically moving your hand that fast rather than like thinking about the song. Like if you're thinking about Blackbird and all of a sudden you're trying to do this, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
But your left hand won't have trouble keeping up with those chord changes once you get to where your right hand can play that fast.
Yeah.
So just this
So
exercise. Go ahead.
when you're speeding up, okay. So after you hit each one of those notes, you're still in the neighborhood. You're
Right.
yeah, you're not leaving the neighborhood. But
Right. You're never
yeah,
going to look like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I think that's probably that's a
And again, try to reach your thumb out. See, like right now, that's better. If I can't see your thumb, you're not in a good position. If your hand looks like this when you're playing something, and I can't, you can see like you can't see my thumb right now, right?
yep, yep,
You got to have it out. Yeah, that looks great. And so that's that's something else you got to really be conscious of right now. Is you got to force yourself to make that it looks like that. Yeah.
yeah.
And you could even do this with a metronome and set it for some speed and make sure you and get your thumb just going at that speed first, and then try to put your fingers in let me see, where's the metronome here? It's got to be right behind the screen. There it is. Um, if if we set it at like 120, that should be easy, I think. No, maybe not. That actually feels like too fast to start at. So I'll take it down to like 104 or something. And then try to bring the fingers in. And just try to stay at that speed and stay comfortable there. If you feel your hand like tightening up, you're going to run out of gas.
Yeah.
But a metronome would be a good way to see, oh, am I getting any faster or not? Can I now do 110 or can I do 140 or something like that?
Right.
Yeah.
Um, okay, okay, great. Got lots of stuff to work on here.
Yeah. So that's a kind of unrelated to any songs or anything, but it's like just to physically get to where your hand can move that fast is
Yeah.
a separate item.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the two things here is no thumb drift because it wants to go there, and this finger for whatever reason um, wants to leave the neighborhood. So
You might be able to have your whole wrist down lower, like closer to the floor. Yeah.
oh
Okay.
really?
Yeah. You know what? Because what I'm seeing when your hand is looking like that, it almost looks like you're reaching far into the strings like this,
Yeah.
and you can see that I've got a little bit more of a claw type thing to my hands. Like they're not. Um, it's probably that like this. Yeah, that looks a whole lot better.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to find. Okay, I got to find the strings in this position.
Yeah, and so this is a difference between, especially when I teach steel string guitar and other people that teach classical. Classical guitar players tell you that when you're plucking a string, it's kind of from this knuckle and I completely disagree with that. It's this knuckle this is the motion for
Yeah.
plucking a string, not this.
Right. Right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's why it looks like my hand's barely moving. Well, okay, what I see here is when I take this knuckle to go in and hit a string. Oh, I kind of cut you off a little bit there. I kind of reach in first a little bit and then pluck it. So I don't know if you can see that, but
No, I can't see it. Yeah.
yeah. See, so I'm not like sitting right on the strings. I'm a little ways away from the string, so my first motion has to be into the string. And then I pluck it with this knuckle. So there really is a little bit of this knuckle brings it in closer, and then this one plucks it.
Okay.
So it is
Oh, I
kind of a
see.
two joint movement.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. That's okay. But
That looks really good. No, right there. That looks pretty good.
okay.
Is
That's
it
fine.
uncomfortable? You're getting knots in your back.
Yeah. No, it's a. Well, I mean, my hand just.
You know what? I think you rotated a little more than you need to. I think you've kind of overdone it here. It doesn't have to be these fingers. That looks better. Even a little more is probably okay.
Okay. So
These fingers do not need to be parallel to the strings. I tell people they do, but if I'm in like really my normal picking position and now I extend them, they're not, I mean, not parallel, perpendicular. They're not completely perpendicular to the strings. There's a little bit of an
yeah,
angle across there.
yeah, I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
that's what it should feel like. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll find that position. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Okay.
Got through a lot. I hope that all made sense.
No, it does make sense, and I got lots of stuff to work on, and so um, maybe I'll next week find come back to dead flowers too.
Oh
So
yeah. You know
uh,
what? And I have a whole lesson at Totally Guitars too, under the theory side called lead secrets, triads. And that's talking about these E, A, and D family, these three string things, and playing, and getting them. So check that out too.
okay,
It's if you look at our menu, you have to go down. It's probably under the Acoustic Genius series. Like you hit there's a whole bunch of package lessons, or
yep,
courses.
yep.
And I think this one called Lead Secrets is the one that goes into exactly what we were talking about earlier today.
Okay.
And then, yeah, between that and While My Guitar Gently Weeps and your rapid finger picking,
Yeah,
I'll see you in a couple months.
yeah, and dogs. I got lots to do, so I got
Yeah.
lots to work on. But that's good.